they heard how. It's like, okay, I know how to pronounce it. You're right. So go with that. That is a loaded question, but I'm all right. I think I've already talked about this like several times. Like many of my many of my friends that suffer from chronic pain, the question of like, how are you today? Is the president question. But also, of course,
are live. And Sasha's been inviting me for a
Unfortunately,
minute, so I'm guessing he needs food. I'll be back.
okay.
Puppers.
No, the
Oh, is
Sasha,
that the cat?
The cat. As well.
Darn it,
Wesley
I
is
can
the
never remember
pupper.
which is which.
Wesley is the pupper.
I'm bad with names. I can barely remember human names. Pet names are past me.
I like your Union Jack shirt, Joe.
Oh, this one's really fun.
Yeah. What does it say? Yeah. Yeah.
So that's your patriotic 4th
That's
of July.
that's my 4th of July shirt. Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. I should wear that. Because like I still have my social media icon on most social media sites as well. It's still like the American flag on fire. Because like I always have that for like at Metro. If you need me to like email you the Zoom link, we'll do that as well.
Joey, Metro.
Yeah, I'm not much for flags and symbols for patrioticness and whatnot, but I have been seriously considering picking up a flagpole just so that I could fly a flag upside down.
I'm sorry, but I'm autistic, so I love flags.
Well, okay, I can understand you liking flags.
No,
for
I
that
like
reason.
flags in spirit. I just don't.
I do have like another like a friend who is autistic and it like just collects flags, but collect flags all around the world.
I love the weird colors. I love the stars. I love the fact that there's stripes.
Yeah, I literally purchased the assets to use on a site for designing flags for my D&D campaign. It was only like $100 to do it forever, but that's sure is a thing I did.
I can't believe you're celebrating treason, Joe. I just saw the shirt. God, why didn't you just join him on January 6th? God.
Oh, geez.
Well, come. So, for like in America, it's Memorial Day, but in other countries, it's Remembrance Day, or is that Veterans Day?
Remembrance Day, I think, is Veterans Day as well. I couldn't be mistaken.
In Canada, it is.
It's Remembrance Day isn't to remember the veterans and the people that lost their lives. It's to remember the armistice, to remember not to do that shit again. Not to.
Yeah, and then we did it again 20 years later.
And it was worse, way worse. It was the
unless you were a Republican.
It was
because Republicans are anti-Semitic.
Hey, Mithril.
And Bebby.
Hello. Good evening.
So we got the whole NATO alliance up here. We have us, we have Denmark, and we have England. So we have the whole NATO alliance.
And as per usual, the U.S. is overrepresented.
Yeah. Good one, John.
You were on time once for the Groundhog. Yes, you are on time once. Welcome in, everyone. Oh, and Ely, how are you doing?
Fine.
And like I said,
that was a pregnant pause.
Longer to reply than it should have done, Ely.
I mean, again, when my friends who have suffer from chronic pain will all say Groundhog's been in previous to these conversations before as well too. It's just like the question, "How are you doing?" It's like that's surprisingly a loaded question to many of my friends, but to all of us, it is a surprisingly loaded question as well too, because it's like, how do you answer that? And also, like I told the story before.
Are you looking for a genuine answer or a platitude?
Oh, all right. Do you want the real answer, or are you just here to create small talk?
Do you want a placebo? That's a Do you want me to lie to you?
Conversational placebo. Yeah.
I usually say I'm vertical and with a pulse.
That's very British.
It's also because I feel bad about complaining from my place in Denmark when I look at your country where everything is just a framework.
Yeah.
Hey, we have curb cutouts. The disabled are fine.
Okay, so I missed my bus because I was actually engaged in conversation with like someone who's like just saying it's like, but I'm fine with the accepted order. There's only 2 genders, and because there are only 2 sexes. Yeah, that was a whole conversation. So
I mean, there aren't like
yes.
even if you take away from genders, there just aren't only 2 sexes. That is just biologically incorrect.
Yeah, that was brought up. But like, so I missed my bus. So I was like, got off at the wrong stop. I was like further along. I had to like get to the bus back on the way, and like it was like I've been there before, but like they made a roundabout in that way. That part I don't have a problem with. But I honestly thought the curves for like the sidewalk as well too was low enough that like I can just like walk past. I was on my phone as well too. But no, there was a bit of a lift there. I had to like pick up my boot a lot more. And so I tripped and then fell, and that was 3 weeks ago. I'm still kind of healing from that. You can barely notice it all too. Well, this one I just reopened because like I think ADHD, I can pick at these things as well too. So it's just like,
so
yeah.
You didn't punch anyone.
No, I did not punch anyone.
But you live in Portland. There's a Nazi there.
No, I live in Seattle, but there's also Nazis here.
I mean, yeah.
Curbs are variable height in this country. We don't have a European EU enforced standard for curb height anymore.
Yes.
And
that's just the way God wanted it, just like currency.
Absolutely. I've been known to go plummeting off the edge of a curb in the past.
Yeah.
And we're joined by the Irish contingent in like okay, how do I pronounce your first name?
Siobhan.
Siobhan. Hello, can we hear you?
Mithro and Siobhan, I want you guys to be nice. I know one's English, one's Irish, but let's be nice for the sake of this.
I was always on the side of the IRA, mate. I wouldn't worry about that.
Isaiah, you can call Mahone. Anyway, some of them get it, some of them don't. I get Irish descent. My nation is U.S. My heart is in Irish, or in Ireland. I'll just shorten it and say I'm a mouthy MFer, and I get a little intense, just slightly, Shut up, Isaiah. I get a little intense when I see injustice. Or Colt Cannon, either one. Colt Cannon's good too.
Yeah.
I just love the like shut up Isaiah as like just like laughing. I don't even need the context.
Do you, but Isaiah had talked a lot less. Okay. We're gonna pick on him this time.
Siobhan will understand this. I once went touring with a friend of mine in Scotland, and we passed a sign post for clearance villagers, and she went, "Oh, that would be really great. I look forward to a bit of shopping."
I'm assuming it means that they're going to be cleared out to make way for...
It was one of the villages that was cleared during the Highland clearances by mainly English landlords, I'm afraid, because sheep paid better than humans.
I did a long post on Facebook and a show, on an episode, I should say, on my show, about the Irish and the Choctaw and the connection between the two. And then also how we, meaning the country Ireland, helped out the Hopi and the Navajo during the height of the pandemic over here. A lot of money and whatever we could do. So, and I have a lot of jokes in which the English that's in which the English feature prominently, although not always good. So, yeah.
Oh no.
Right.
I mean, I'm horrified to think about it now, but in the late 70s, I guess, there were a whole series of books published or thick pamphlets published in the UK called the Irish Joke Book, which were all about the Irish being stupid, which is not great retrospectively.
I have one though that well, I have more than one, but I'm only going to say one. Okay, so Seamus comes over to the United States, okay, because he's visiting relatives over here, and he walks into a bar in my hometown, which is the bar is like 8 blocks down there. Okay, it's called Schuberg's, and so he walks in the bar and he walks up to the bartender and he says, "Bartender, I want a round of drinks for everyone, and I'll take 3 for myself, and you can have one too."
No, but I quit drinking.
Right.
You told this, what was it, 2-3 weeks ago?
I'm gonna stab you,
John.
I'll send the boils after you, motherfucker.
Oh, shit. Yeah, what do you call it? When
That's the whole punchline, asshole. That he spends a long time doing that, and then at the end of it, you know, he drops one. He's celebrating him and his brothers, and he drops one off, and they think his brothers died. He says, "No, I quit drinking." Start calling you an honorary Englishman.
Well, John Bromberg,
I am an English mutt.
John Bromberg, he's an English mutt, and John Bromberg doesn't like it when he's only called kind of an asshole. He wants to be a full asshole.
Yeah. I always say I'm a perfect asshole. I have no hemorrhoids.
Again, it's like I already told this joke before, but like I think I established that does do anal bleaching does have this as a.
I was going to bring up the anal bleaching.
some assholes just need to lighten up.
Isaiah, you raised your hand a little while earlier. Was that just you?
Fozzie Bear going waka waka waka.
Yeah. But anyway, Isaiah, you had your hand up for what?
I was just. Oh, did Mithrin...
That'd be coming.
Yeah, you tell.
It makes more sense than most right-wing politicians.
Most?
All.
Don't get me started on politicians, because as the
you'll never come to an end.
I was just raising my hand earlier because I never understood the whole transgender and sports thing, because
it's because they hate queer people.
I just never understood why get so worked up about something that doesn't even really.
They do hate queer people, and they don't. Okay, that's part of it. Okay, all transphobia, every single iota of it is rooted in misogyny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Notice how they don't care about trans men at all.
Well, it's not,
number one. Well, that's not in our porn stash. But number one, it's because, for example, you know, they overseas. Okay, from my point of view, in Europe, they blocked trans women from being in the women's divisions of the chess championships. Because you need big muscles, you know, to
yeah.
Well, because women have small brains.
Amy Schneider, who is one of the biggest, other than Ken Jennings, she's one of the biggest champions, like longest streak of Jeopardy. Okay, is a trans woman, and they were complaining about that. You know, because the idea behind that is, quote, she's a man. Okay, and if she's a man, she shouldn't be able to compete against women because it's not fair, because women are weaker and, you know, blah 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 and all this stuff.
Yeah. It's always that men are. It's not. I mean, the protecting women. It's just like, yeah, because they're less. We can't have men there because women are less.
I would say that, you know, what we do is we protect women. I say, from who? Other men.
Well, no, they're actually fairly straightforward about that. Well, they say that they're trying to protect women from rapists. But the thing is, it wasn't about rape. It wasn't about protecting women when they were keeping black people out of white bathrooms. It's not about protecting women now.
Well,
it's about protecting their property.
I've always heard of the whole thing about protecting women from people like me. I've always heard of that. I just never, because like, have you ever noticed that when they sign the bills against allowing trans people in bathrooms, it's always surrounding kids. Like they have kids in the photo op, and I just always thought.
Meanwhile, they literally marry them to sexual predators.
Look at the number. I'm sure anybody who's in the panel can give me a good guess on this. Very, very close guess. But, you know, for anybody who happens to be watching, look at the number of trans women who have been arrested and convicted for sexual assault and harassment in the last 30 years. Zero.
Yeah.
Now, just in the last year alone, look at how many Republicans and clergy, right-wing clergy especially, have been convicted.
Yeah.
Arrested and convicted. Okay?
Like even if you narrow it down to people who have made a career almost exclusively on hating on trans people, the number is higher than the amount of
Haggerty was famous in the 90s for bashing queer people. He didn't so much focus on trans people, but queer people. And then he got busted paying for a male hooker and cocaine.
Yeah.
It must be an insecurity thing for a lot of these people.
I do have to say, though, that a lot of people, and to some extent, they're right some of the time. A lot of people will say that, anybody who is virulently transphobic or homophobic is that way themselves. Right. No, that's not always the case. Okay, they just sometimes they just hate us. Okay, because their clergy or their politician or whoever their cult leader is, told them to hate us. Okay, like in the last election, that asshole and the GOP spent $215 million on anti-trans ads, more than all of their other ads combined. Way more than all of their other ads combined. So, we're the other. I made a comment one time to a person on Facebook. They got mad and then blocked me, Chucky. But we were talking about this, and I said, yeah, we're like the Jews of 1939, and she's Jewish, and she got all kind of pissed off. Okay, how dare you compare yourselves to the Holocaust and whatever? And I said, where do you think the pink triangle comes from? From Nazi fucking Germany. Okay. And when the United States Army came in and we're going to liberate everybody, which is cool, don't get me wrong, we're going to liberate everybody and pull them out of the camps or whatever. All the gay prisoners stayed in prison. They weren't released at all
because it was still illegal in Britain and the U.S.
Right.
Yeah.
And I'm sure in Russia.
And Mithril, you were alive back then, so you should apologize.
I apologize for everything, just in case.
Just in case.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've started to use whenever people would like bring up the trans people in sports argument, I'd bring up Michael Phelps, who is just like a mutant in a way that gives him advantages over everyone. But
in swimming, only in swimming.
As much
he's not
as,
a particularly
as
good volleyball player.
Somebody brought up something else, and I thought that would be a better example to use. Wealthy, like we should keep wealthy kids out of sports because they have an advantage of tutors and personal trainers and times in the gym and better equipment
and all the rest of it.
Better nutrition, like all of those things. There has to be.
We should also keep them out of the dating pool because they're happy.
I remember hearing this on the show House, although he was talking about religious people, which still goes true, for others as well. If logic and facts could sway transphobes, they wouldn't be transphobes.
Yeah. You can't reason someone out of a position they weren't reasoned into. Was a truism in the new atheism movement.
Sam Harris, I hate having the fact that I quote him.
Whenever I hear it, I usually ask. I mean, I'm clearly showing my age. I always say, "How many Grand Slams did Renee Richards win?" Then,
right? Renee Richards is a turf.
Oh yeah.
Who's Renee Richards?
Blows a lot of people's minds. I'm just like hating Jared.
It doesn't surprise me.
Right. But just like Sam Harris said, one of the few times I agree with him, very few. He's a broken clock for me. What evidence do you use?
Grand Slams. I thought you said grandsons.
No.
How many grandsons did Renee Richards win?
Somebody who doesn't value evidence.
The only Grand Slam I know is the bomb that they dropped on the battleships.
Shame on you. Go to Denny's.
I was gonna say, I always think of the breakfast meal deal at Denny's when people bring up the Grand Slam.
I always think of the bombs they dropped on the battleships. So Mithril, this is how I know I think I would do better in the UK because I know a lot about the Royal Air Force. So
okay, yeah, you do. absolutely.
The first thing that comes to mind for me when I hear bombs is a Gap song. You dropped a bomb on me. Shows you my age.
You got the bomb. Okay, I'll stop.
I say it. You're allowed to sing. I am not allowed to sing.
I can't.
Yeah, I've heard you sing.
Besides, I say if you go on singing, what's that? It's not going to send like 3 minutes of the show and something like that. It's not going to be that long as like a rent from like the Angry Wrench as well too.
I did want to address John's because me and John were talking about
minutes.
Oh no, I was saying me and John, I think a couple of weeks ago, we were talking about autism and confidence.
Yeah.
I did want to bring that up.
Yeah.
If we could, like, kind of, I guess, So growing up, I feel like I wasn't taught to be confident. I've always gotten this feeling that when you're like disabled, you're kind of taught not to be confident. You're taught kind of not to bring attention to yourself. So to just kind of just be quiet. Don't be too loud. Don't, all of this. I remember a lot, I was afraid of my dad a lot. And then when I finally snapped, he like slapped me really hard. And so the cops got called, and the cop kind of agreed with my father about, beating up, like not beating up, but like spanking his kid. So it's just like growing up. Yeah, discipline. It's just like growing up, you're not really taught.
No, it's beating. It's child abuse. I think they call it that.
You're not really.
And it's no surprise that cops would agree with that. 40%.
Yeah, no kidding.
You're not really taught to be confident. You're kind of just taught to just, not cause a lot of trouble. So having confidence when you're trying to like build it up, it's really tough.
And even part of it is that our abnormal behaviors are punished.
And it's not just domestic abuse like with their partners with cops.
Yeah.
A lot of police officers have the basic idea that a big part of their job is disciplining the populace.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's true.
Top of it for me was I didn't understand that's the word. I didn't connect it with this until I was 9 or 10 and started reading Tales of the Fae. I'm a Celtic pagan. But I always felt like I was a changeling. Like, the Fae came in and, put me in my bassinet when I was in the hospital and took a human baby home because I was not connected to these creatures at all. Did not get them. I did not understand them. They would do stuff that I'm like, what? One of the common things, for example, is if they told me I had to do whatever the rule was, okay, and if I thought it was wrong or illogical or whatever, I wouldn't do it. Okay. No matter how much they yelled, whatever, I wouldn't do it. But if I did think it was illogical, I did agree with it, and other people didn't do it, that's when I get mad. If it's good for one, it's got to be good for everybody.
Right.
I don't know if anybody else is.
Pretty much. Isaiah, hands up.
No, I was okay, so then when I moved in with my grandma, like this was like in the late 2000s, I got diagnosed at a school clinic for being autistic. But my grandma had this like, I guess this like teen counselor she knew, and she basically put it out there that I was mentally challenged for the Department of Health. So when I tried to correct her on that, my grandma kind of gave me the look of like how kind of like every black old person would look at someone to tell you that grown folks are talking, so shush. And so I wasn't even like able to advocate for myself. So
that's very common. Honestly.
Building up confidence and all that stuff is hard because you were never really given the tools to do that. Although there have just been times where I've just done shit just out of the blue, I've auditioned for American Idol once, and I've done talent shows. You would think stuff like that takes a lot of confidence. Even non-autistic folks have don't like to go on stage like that, but I did it without a care in the world. So I guess I had confidence in that way, just not
Well, I think people are complicated, and you can have confidence in one area. Like I said, I'm a mouthy person, but when it comes to, well, I don't like to be touched anyway, but when it comes to having a
sensitivities,
huh?
Sensitivities. They don't acknowledge our sensitivities either.
When it comes to, somebody can ask me to walk up to the room and just start talking to people on whatever the topic is. And I can do that for 40 minutes to an hour. Okay. Be all fine, cool, and dandy. And then I want to get the hell away from there. And I want to be home reading a book. And I don't want nothing to do with anybody for at least a day or two.
Yep.
But what his part about the advocating, and then on top of that, you have groups that were advocating for you, but they're not. Like my favorite one to hate, Autism Speaks.
Oh God,
we are so oppressed. I mean, we are mothers of autistic people, and nobody cares.
Right.
I am so glad that I was able to share some videos and stuff for that for my sister who has a autistic child and was like donating and like supporting that organization.
Some
like
people don't
you should look at these things. There are better like self-advocacy groups that are not trying to find
Autism Speaks is not a self-advocacy group.
That's what I'm saying.
About a year ago, I did a show called Top 10 Reasons Why Autism Speaks and Sesame Street Can Fuck Off. One of my highest rated shows. I mean, I didn't get like thousands of viewers or whatever, but it was one of my highest watched shows. Because people are like, what? Maybe they might know / understand about Autism Speaks, but then the problems I had with Sesame Street on top of that. Yeah. So, sometimes,
I mean, I know she did horrible things, but the only reason I really know about Autism Speak being such a god awful bunch was because of Illuminati.
Right.
Of all the places.
Well, yeah, I know, but she was covering
genuinely
stuff
curious
I was
where she stole that from.
Oh yeah, no, me too. But
with the eye, the pyramid.
She was an easily accessible cover of topics I was interested in. That was the thing.
Yeah. Yeah. I was
she knew that. She knew exactly what she was doing.
I was after she had joined the starting of Leftist Mafia, I was like debating back and forth whether or not I should add her to the Patreon list. And thankfully, before I decided yes, the first thing came out about how she treated former employees and whatnot.
Yeah. I think sometimes, hashtag not all groups, but sometimes people in general tend to, when they get into a smaller club, it's us versus them, whatever it is.
Yeah.
Atheism versus religious people, or Democrats versus Republicans, or whatever. Then they look for someone who supposedly embodies what they think that group should embody. And unfortunately, too many people get to the point where they worship that person. And then you find out that they're, don't get me started on Matt Dillahunty. But then you find out that they're jerk people. Okay. The little punk ass tried to call me out by name, which I thought was hilarious. You don't have any proof. You're a liar. I still have receipts. I still have copies of all the emails. I still have all the pictures. I still have all the videos. Yeah.
That name sounds familiar. What community was he part of, or is part of?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
He wasn't the only one. Okay.
He was the big name.
Eric Murphy, Jamie Boone, etc., were all involved in Rationality Rules coming there, doing whatever. Okay, and we warned them ahead of time. He's transphobic. Oh no, he's not. He's okay. So then they did the show, and a lot of trans people were like, okay. and they apologized to the trans community. Less than 24 hours later, they flipped that around and apologized to him. Took down their apology.
Yeah.
And apologized to him. And then tried doubling down and whatever. They lost a ton of their posts. And the 2 days after that episode happened, I was talking with because I was a social administrator for YouTube. We had one for Facebook, we had one for Discord, et cetera, et cetera. Okay, so I was in control of all the YouTube shows and the mods and hiring and firing the mods and whatever. And one of the people in that group, their kid, who was a mod, resigned in support of me. And I was already kind of thinking about it anyway. There was no way in hell I can stay after that. No. If they're going to take that step, and try to support me, I'm out of here. So the entire admin panel said, see ya. And then one of the hosts I'm not going to name them, but one of the hosts that's probably more well known than a lot of them, okay, is also on my Facebook, etc. But didn't say anything about the entire thing until Matt Dillahunty came out and said the reasons that everybody supposedly left the show were flat out bullshit. Okay, so then they stepped in and and said differently. And I mean it's kind of blown over, because it's been years ago and whatever. But they almost lost their 501c status over it, their tax-free exempt status over it. Had a big shake up there. Yeah. So
yeah, transphobia does tend to be a real canary in the coal mine as far as shitty behavior goes. Like anyone who like does or says stuff like anti-trans publicly and then like when are called out about it and don't like immediately like, oh yeah, that was shitty, like almost inevitably just keeps showing more and more terrible things that are just different sorts of terrible things, but
one of my favorite cartoons. Go ahead.
Aye, yes, me too, Joey.
One of my favorite cartoons on the topic is there's 4 panels, and the top panel is 2 guys standing there, got baseball caps on. The one has, Make America Great Again. Okay. And in the background, you see people walking past handcuffed. And the first guy A says to guy B, thanks for all your help. We finally got rid of all the trans people and the drag queens. And the guy, shakes his, as he's shaking his hand. And you go in the second panel, he goes, okay, who's next? And the guy just looks at him. He says, okay, who's next? And the guy looks at him again. Obviously you are, like the LGB Alliance or whatever, that English author that I want to send the boils after. I'll just put it that way. There's certain things I won't say on YouTube, so I don't want to get your show in trouble. But we need the boils and we need some bagel slicers. I'm telling you, especially the ones that are vertical.
Yeah. So yeah, confidence with autism as well. I forgot to ask that to it's just some of my friends that do have autism and how they get in confidence as well too. To I don't know. There's I guess that they do how they gain confidence as well too. Just put yourself out there as well too. It's unfortunately I don't know if there's any good advice on that other than just Eleanor Roosevelt has to say, do one thing every day that scares you as well too. But also it's just it's kind of how do I get up earlier out of the bed as well too? You just have to do it. At some point you just have to do it as well too.
Maybe just edging into it a little bit,
Instead of clean your room, eat nothing but meat, and cry.
Speak in front of 200 people. What's that?
You mean Jordan Peterson?
Clean your room, eat nothing but meat, and cry.
And then just have one apple cider, and then just go into coma for 30 days because of that one apple cider just knocked you in a coma.
Yeah, it was definitely not that, it was definitely that, not an addiction to benzos.
Yeah, you would think as a clinical psychologist, he would have been aware of the effects and the possible side effects of drugs for
but his room was clean, so he couldn't possibly get addicted. That's how it works.
I mean, a lot of methamphetamines can help you with that as well.
Y'all remember Rush Limbaugh, by the way? He's dead. Yeah.
Still dead. We're glad.
telling on his radio propaganda that drug addicts and whatever should be all put in jail for the rest of their lives and whatever. And then he gets busted for drug addiction. Oh,
Yeah.
that's okay. He's going to go in rehab and it's okay. He's got a problem, but he'll fix it. And he's still
yeah.
It was a lone addiction, a lone wolf addiction. Yeah.
There you go. Exactly.
Really, the problem wasn't the addiction. The problem was brown people.
Yeah,
that's what he was saying.
The problem was video games.
Yes. Yeah. Playing Doom.
Speaking of lone wolves,
go ahead.
I've been like, my brain has just been making like all sorts of sarcastic terrorism jokes. like man, who even knew about Brian? Who even knew about Brian Thompson before he was shot? Think of how famous the guy that took out Musk would be.
I have. I'll share it on my Facebook, but I found it somewhere on the internet. You know how that goes.
Yeah.
It's a picture of a PlayStation game. Okay, PS4, whatever, right? Okay, but it's him on the front.
Right,
it's
on.
St. Luigi on the front. Okay, and I can't. And the name is like UHG something. Version 2.0 or whatever it is, something like that. Yeah, that's a good one too.
Yeah. Let's see. Also, there's taking a life is always wrong. It would even be wrong to take a life to make to end the terror of a CEO. Now, if you could find some way that 3 CEOs were in one life, that might be worth it.
Or taking one life is, not so much a joke or whatever, but taking one life is completely wrong. But a million lives, that's okay.
If it's profitable.
That's what Stalin said.
Well, you mean the communist, Marxist, liberal junkie Democrat? Trump literally said during a debate with Kamala Harris, as he's walking onto the stage, the debate, I should say, that he called her. Hold on a second. I accidentally turned my phone on for some reason. He called her. I got to get the order right. He called her a Marxist, liberal, democratic, communist. So all the buzzwords, right? Those are bad words. My leader told us those are bad words, so she must be bad.
Yeah, and very true, Groundhog. Million lives becomes a statistic as well too. I mean, like, you just have to coup a certain country. They're becoming communist. That's the word too. We can't have USR just have influence over this region. This is our region, South America, as word too. So it's just like
Afghanistan,
yeah.
Or.
Hey, do you guys want to know what the most tragic part of my story is? All of the stuff that happened was kind of done by Black women, so I guess it ruined my views on it, I guess.
Yeah.
Especially if you consider someone, like in your case, you consider someone part of your community.
Yeah. It
could be even more devastating.
Yeah, because I don't know. It's whatever, I think if my mom was still alive, I think my mom would have handled my condition way better.
Probably, yeah.
But
then you have the people that say, "Oh, we support mental health and and autistic people and whatever, and here's the phone numbers to call and all that stuff." Believe me, I've gone off on that. Facebook, but here's the phone numbers to call and all that stuff, until you evince traits of those things. Like, I'm autistic and I'm ADHD and I'm bipolar 2 and I have chronic depression and I have anxiety and I have CPTSD, et cetera. I got more letters than those than I have in my name. Right. But until you show any of those traits, then suddenly you're a jerk, you're an asshole, you're lazy.
Yeah.
You need to focus.
No, we talked about the myth of laziness on this show several times as well too. It's like again, I always go back to a Medium article by a professor of psychology that he never just he assumed that his students are lazy when he sees his students performing well. He kind of takes them aside and privately or just asks them, is something going on? And it usually is a undiagnosed case of depression or undiagnosed case of OCD, or like they just been through a breakup. And so like there's always something that like is affecting the student that it causes them difficulty to focus in class as well too. And he's always ashamed that like professors at his own college as well too, also professors of psychology, would have the attitude it's like, oh, the student is just like not doing well in the test and is failing. They're just being lazy and will fail them, or and
Not
just like
studying,
yeah, exactly. So it's just like, yeah, it's like I don't know why we want to NX Canada Lucidia. I don't know why we get from Canada maple syrup or something like that. It's just like,
well, we get a different.
Stop. Okay. Michigan does maple syrup too. All right.
So does Vermont. Well, the thing is, from Canada, we get a different kind of racism. We got to mix it up. We got to have united colors of racist Benetton.
It's because Fallout. You know that. The first one talks about the annexation of Canada.
Right.
Yep.
Oh.
You know why? Because here's why. Because the Canada thing and the Greenland thing and the Mexico thing and the Panama thing were all during the time frame that Trump's cabinet appointees.
It's because he wants to be remembered as a man who expanded the territorial boundaries of the US.
Yes.
Like calling it the Gulf of America.
Oh, it is. I mean,
he wants to do a new colonialism.
Even Keir Bloody Starmer said he wouldn't do that.
I like the Gulf of record high egg prices.
Yeah.
I like the Gulf of how does this lower grocery prices?
And then Lone Scum made put up a map where he had changed the English channel to something to do with America. I forget what it was.
Yeah.
And somebody said on Twitter, because I'm not calling it X.
Yeah.
You can pull my phone. So somebody said, in response to him, said maybe you should leave the changing of the name to someone else. You can't even call your daughter by her appropriate name. Something along those lines.
Yeah, exactly. Like, yeah, Elon Musk just like doesn't even like talk to like his daughter or something like that because of the son he lost as well too. And Elon Musk is a bad gamer, trying to pretend to be a good gamer as well too. Do you all know about the story of how he like bought a Path of Exile account?
Oh, that's brilliant. That's absolutely.
I mean, and given that he also is on the top of the list for not Baldur's Gate, Diablo 4, there is zero chance that's correct as well.
Right. Well, he's bad at everything.
He's so desperate to be
Trump at everything. I mean, Trump
good at something.
Trump even had a casino go bankrupt.
Yeah.
How the hell do you do that?
Here's the casino. You take all your money, you walk in, you hand it to him, and you leave.
Yeah, but he's a really good businessman. Okay. What? Clearly.
But clearly, it was either money laundering or something. That's whatever, something like that.
Actually, I saw a thing that went into it. He was trying to outspend and out luxury essentially a competitor who was an actual billionaire and not pretended to be one when actually bankrupted.
Right. That makes sense. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Presumably somebody who'd been on the front of Time magazine and he
Yep, something like that, yeah.
Oh, I see. So it's
love the fact that
the guy that ran the Bellagio, I believe.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. I was going to guess
time cover made up.
Yeah, that was going to guess like Sheldon Anderson because he's a billionaire that definitely wants to just like influence his will onto like things as well too.
Why don't these fuckers just piss off to Mars?
Because the Keelan's trying to go to Mars.
And it gets worse, they will.
The CEO, the surviving CEO for Ocean Gate, said he was talking about this is what he wanted to do in the future, but not like 200-300 years in the future, like in the very near future. Okay, he wanted to make a floating flying platform, all right, for all CEOs, people with a lot of wealth, whatever. Okay, in the upper surface of the cloud of Venus. Okay.
They do understand about Venus with sulfuric acid for rain.
Yeah, he is about Venus. Okay, but they have the scientists and they'll figure all that out. Okay, so my go for it. Put all your people on this little space ark picture that you had, and I'll get to that in a second. And then send them all off to Venus and bye. Bye.
Yeah. Don't insult Stockton Rush. He is a model for what all billionaires should be.
Dead.
My other thing about that is if you look at it's a very famous, as far as on the internet goes, a picture where he's got this huge spaceship of people going to Mars, and they got like the two animals, which is funny because I believe they still do have the two male lions, whatever. But anyway, just like the Christians do with their most of their pictures of the ark. But then they have his guards holding back the peons, from getting on there. All of those peons are black. Every single.
Yeah. Really?
Yep.
God.
I'll either post a link to the picture or on one of y'all's social media, whatever. I'll put it up there. I've got it. I have like 6,000 memes, so
so like that's like Joey steal memes from you, or do you steal memes from Joey?
I steal memes from everybody.
I
have memes about trans people, about sex. I won't show those on the show, but about trans people, about sex, about Trump, about toast, about rabbits, and about my favorite mammal in the world, baby goats.
Yes. Baby goats are a thing.
It's not stealing. The memes belong to all of us, comrade.
We're redistributing the memes production.
Glasses.
Exactly. They're my free NFTs.
I'm glad NFTs are no longer a thing.
Because $99 for an image on the internet that if nothing else, the easiest way to do it, I can go to that website, look at what they're doing, scroll with my wheel while I'm holding the control button down a little bit till it gets larger, and do a screenshot of it. Boom, I got the picture.
Yes, of an ugly ape.
And
Why
you just
stole
from them.
Or the gold shoes.
I don't know about the gold shoes.
They were never made. All that's $399 to put your name on a list to get the shoes, which were, of course, never made.
Oh, of course they
weren't. What happened to NFTs, by the way? NFTs just disappeared.
Then they did it again for a while, not too long ago, wasn't it?
A little bit, as it were, too.
Then they get like the Trump coin or some shit.
Yeah, there's the Trump coin. There's also the new president of Argentina. There's a narco-capitalist. No, he says that he's a narco-capitalist, as it were, too, and he wanted to create the official, change the official currency of Argentina to be cryptocurrency or something like that. And it's just like, yeah,
one of the executive orders that he signed last week is to try to remove some of the barriers for I call it shitcoin.
Yeah.
And AI. Because a lot of people, they're all pyramid schemes. That's all they are.
Yes, it's all like
a lot of people are getting into it on the ground floor, waiting, and then just before the market, so to speak, drops, pull their money out, and then everybody else is, left hanging.
Yeah. There's always a MLM, not the fun kind of MLMs, the men who love men as well too. It is like most of the level of marketing as well too, because
it's like all MLMs are bad except for men loving men.
Right.
That's like some Marcus Leninist as well too, Marcus Leninist Maoist as well too, but like hashtag not all, I would say.
What was it? Avon, Amway was really bad.
Oh my god, I remember Amway.
Yeah, I didn't know, and I thought about getting into it back in the.
What's the health one? Is it Herbal Life or something?
Herbal Life.
Yep. Oh yeah, Herbal
Life. There was Avon calling back in the 50s. Tupperware parties.
There was a candle one.
Is still
Avon
a thing
still
in the
exists.
UK. There was a U.S. tax system.
I remember trying to explain to a lady who worked in the taxi office that was linked to what I worked in. That the guy who created Herbal Life hadn't, in fact, found a mushroom that cured cancer. Because if he did, he wouldn't be living in a 14-bedroom mansion somewhere in Ireland, which is a very beautiful place. He would own every island in the Pacific by now.
Right.
And it was just, I'm just like, just not very bright, are you? I'm afraid.
Can I just say, I don't know if
a lot of people in America, pot cures cancer.
Yeah,
okay, it's just like
it helps cancer, and it helps people who are on treatments for cancer, but it does not in any way, shape, or form cure cancer.
No.
Well, we did these studies. Okay, where are these studies?
Yeah.
Yes. Just present the evidence, as it were, too, and like I can believe some people that like some of like pot can like helps them, but it's not the universal thing. It's like most treatments are not useful universal things.
And the thing is that pot doesn't cure cancer in any way. However, what it does is it's a pain reliever.
Yeah.
Okay? It's also an appetite increaser, I guess is a
yes.
put it.
Okay. Yeah.
And that's one of the problems with people. You know, I worked 20 years as an ER tech and med-surg aide. I'm not a nurse, I'm not a doctor, whatever. But one of the reasons that people die from cancer and fail with the chemo treatments and stuff is because the chemo is so bad, it's a poison. Radiation is so bad on your system that you're nauseous all the time. You don't want to eat at all, and if you don't eat, you don't have the energy.
Yeah.
To help the chemical fight back against your cancer.
Yeah, exactly. Back to like the rich people living on islands. I don't know. It's just like, am I the weird person that like I don't know if I want to live on an island? Maybe visit an island, vacation to an island, but so it's like because maybe there's nice weather in like Hawaii and something like that. Oh, Hawaii's that big, and there's some of the islands I'm picking up that is just like it's just like
always pirates.
Yes.
Not only do I not want to live on an island, but I don't even want to live alone in an apartment because when I'm just alone by myself, I hit a depression spiral. So
yeah, the implication is that as a billionaire, you are so antisocial that you don't want to talk to anybody.
I mean, Joey,
probably true.
I would do if I won the lotto. Of course, it would increase my chances if I actually bought a ticket. Is I would buy like
not by a lot though.
I would buy like 400 or 500 acres somewhere. Okay, maybe near a town that needed some boosting for their economic circumstances, whatever, and build another town.
I want to know.
And we were describing it at the end. I said, this is a commune, right? Because I'm the one, so you don't have to pay for your house, you don't have to pay for your Wi-Fi, you don't have to pay for your food, you don't have to pay for your utilities. Okay. And there would also be a communal, I wonder where we got that word from, kitchen, where people come at any time of the day if they want to get something to eat, or they could cook in their own houses or whatever, wouldn't have to pay for anything. No. Hello, commune.
Yeah.
I'm wondering if I have any if any of my family has any estate somewhere around here, like an old plantation that's in my name.
No, I'm afraid not. They were all farmed by people like yourself, Isaiah, but they were never owned by people like yourself, I'm afraid.
Yes. No, I do not hate island dwarfs or hate islanders as well, too. It's just like, I don't know if, it's just like, I don't know if I would.
You don't like islands.
Yeah.
I play
It's Wheeland, not Island.
I play Magic Gathering. I hate all the blue players. Oh my god, always canceling my spells.
We Island, not Island. Wheeland, not Island.
I went to school on a small island in my country. It was not what I wanted. I wanted to go home pretty often because it was so far away from everything. In the city that we lived, there was a church and a grocery store, and the grocery store shut down. So there was this boarding school for young people, and then there was a church.
Oh God, that sounds horrifying, Ellie.
I grew up in a small town in Michigan. At the time, had because I was born and grew up initially on my grandpa's farm. He had 40 acres, way out in the middle of nowhere, and then we moved into the big city of where I went to first started going to school at, which was 2,300 people.
Yeah.
Now my hometown is what I consider it now, because that town can kiss my ass because it's a lot of bigotry and whatever in that town. It's rural West Michigan. Not all Michigan Irish redneck good people, but then when we moved to this town, I graduated from here, and it's got like 7,500 people in it. But then I've also lived in DC. I've lived in the barrio in LA. So
that's true, Groundhog.
Actually, surprising that what do you call it? You had mentioned earlier about a bunch of anti-Irish jokes also being raised in the Midwest. Maybe it's more of a Wisconsin thing where a lot of our immigration came from Poland. That almost all of the dumb immigrant jokes were Polish jokes.
Right.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
Yeah, maybe because in the Pacific Northwest, there's actually quite a few like islands in the Puget Sound and something like that. Vashon Island, Mercer Island, but Mercer Island is where all the rich people are, and Britain Bridge Island, I don't know. But I also never visited those places, so it's just like, and also it's a temperate zone, so like anyway, Isaiah, you have your hand up.
No, I was saying, I think I read a story a couple years ago where there was this black guy, like learned about his like lineage, and he got like a plantation or something.
Oh, right. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I wasn't being rude, Isaiah.
Yeah.
I was trying to be moderately comedic. It's
Yeah.
Putting that
clearly failed miserably.
One, so it's okay. You know, kind of
Isn't it?
I'm white and I'm British. What the hell do you expect?
Terrible food from you. And okay,
stolen stuff in your museums.
Had children with the enslaved people.
Oh, they did.
Oh
yeah.
Yeah. Through rape, yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And then don't get me started on 1916.
Yeah.
Nope.
Yeah.
You know.
Nope.
So
oh yeah, it's Black History Month, isn't it?
Yeah.
What?
Well,
Yeah,
it's
like
Oh God! Did you see the?
it's always Black
I think it was a Trump tweet about
I don't read Trump's tweets
about it going. Where he said it's supposed to be Black History Month, whatever that is. And I was just like, Jesus God, you can't stop yourself, can you?
And there's
he wants the attention.
True social and tweets or whatever he puts his bile, but
it was a White History Month.
Clearly, he did not write that. You know, one, they're spelled correctly.
Yeah.
Two, they're logical. Three, they're credible. You know, even though, you know, the concepts they spout are evil. The way the sentence structures and stuff are put together, it's clearly obvious that he did not write them in any way, shape. And I remember during his first reign that I remember reading stories about where, like, if they were doing a security briefing or whatever, they had to narrow it down to 1 or 2 pages with a lot of pictures.
Yeah.
And this is who was, you know, in the White House again.
Yeah. Deeply incurious man.
There you go.
Oh yeah.
And proudly
ignorant. You know what the acronym is? DIM. And he's definitely DIM.
Yeah.
We are fucked.
Well, with the
not even just willfully ignorant, proudly ignorant.
Yeah, he is proud of it.
Yep. I can send it to Geek or whoever, but I also have some links for resources for trans people.
Sure thing.
Include possible ways to go to other countries. You know, there's some of them that I'm not going to share, but there's some, you know, and that are more public, and they've shared them publicly, so I will do that. You know,
he says the world's people will live in Gaza. The world's people.
Oh yeah. If he wants to like use like annex like the Gaza Strip and use it for like development.
What's the word?
Well, Jared Kushner said that specifically, almost I think word for word. You know, that it's going to be something like it's going to be worth a lot or something like that.
Yeah, the Riviera, the Mediterranean, or something like that, or like
the Mediterranean already having a Riviera, you know.
Right, and plus,
hence the French Riviera,
Syria and you know all the other countries around that area have already said, you know, we're not taking them.
Yeah,
you know, but you know, there's a solution.
Oh God, yeah, I saw that.
You know, I guess you could call it a final solution.
The final solution, and that's for her groundhog because of like Trump just like firing all the diversity like hires, the DEIA hires and stuff like that, reversing something that he signed as well too.
Aside from the Democrats needing to get a damn spine,
I agree.
The FEC chairwoman, Trump fired her over like a True Social tweet.
No, I'm pretty sure he fired her because of her vagina.
Yeah. And she said, no, you're not firing me. There's a way to do that. It's through Congress. You don't have the ability to do so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know? And if more people did that, you know, I'm sorry, but if I were in the Treasury Department on the floor at that time, and those goons coming in trying to take over the computers, I'd do one of two things. I would either bring out the boyos in myself, or I would accidentally stomp on, you know, every hard drive I could find.
Yeah. Because that's what like Elon Musk basically doing the dictatorship coup is that too. It had like a bunch of just like 18 to 20-year-old like programmers just go into like
and he's also said that you know, they tried to defend it by saying, well, you know, it's read only. You still have all the access to the data.
Yeah.
See, you can see, you know, your phone number, your address, your health history, your social security number, your work history, your
This is a real threat, isn't it?
Yeah.
This is a very, very real, dangerous threat.
How awful this guy is.
It's a dangerous threat to the point where it might be a more dangerous threat than Trump.
Right.
Yeah.
My show, which is coming on in a little while, is, you know, I've been beating the drums for, I don't know, a couple months every time I do a show. But a lot of people, because I'm getting ready to go here. Okay, so a lot of people have problems with this sometimes. There are people who have unalived themselves over it. Okay, in my community as well as other communities.
I mean, my attitude is, it may only be a small room, but if anybody wants to temporarily come over here before they move somewhere else, they're more than welcome to stop in my spare room.
I've had some offers like that myself. But so I decided to do something different. I'm not a Pollyanna, okay? But I don't, you know, you can go anywhere else on the net, you know, and find out why it sucks, okay? But so my show today is going to be about ways that you can do self-care, and about ways that you again, you're not going to make yourself feel perfect. It's not going to be, you know, happy, joy, okay? But there are things that you can do. And I've interviewed some people and talked to probably 20 or 30 people to get their takes on what they can do. Both not only self-care, but helping somebody else. Let's say, you know, you're kind of at a level keel right now, you know, and you see somebody else is dragging down or is having a lot of problems, you know. You might be able to offer them help. You know, it might be able to give you an idea or something where you can offer them help. You know, because you can't do it by yourself. But it can be done together. Yeah.
What's the matter?
So, do you mind me mouthing off for a second, Jonathan?
Okay, come on.
That we don't mind you mouthing off for like a second or so too, because like
you're gonna have to time limit me, because you know me, I'll talk for 4 hours.
Well, we only have like 30 minutes left.
My show is on in roughly half an hour. It is The Angry Wrench Speaks, separate words, on YouTube. It usually does, you know, I usually do mostly political stuff, social, economic, you know, whatever. Sometimes healthcare. Like I said, today's a little different. I'm also on Blue Sky.
Okay, come on.
And
come on.
Excuse me. I also have a Blue Stack and a writing. I also have a Blue Stack and a writing Substack for that channel, as well as a writing, as well as a Substack and a Blue Sky for my authorship. So I can send Jonathan all those links in, and you know, he can put, you know, whatever he wants up on the show.
Well, I already put like the YouTube link to the Angry Wrench in the live chat, and also your Blue Sky into the live chat as well too.
Okay, cool. You know, I wish I had that many on my writing account. On my writing account, I have like 240 something, like whatever. On my Angry Wrench account, I have just shy of 3,900.
Nice.
So and I was talking to Joey the other day, and I was like, you know, I wish more of them would show up, you know, for my chat. Okay, but I don't want them all to show up. Because, you know, even leaving aside, you know, porn bots and whatever else, okay, you're talking over 3,000 people.
Yeah.
If 40 showed up, my chat would be, you know. So, where's my stuff here? All right, I gotta go. Peace, y'all. Have a great day.
Take care, Siobhan.
Take care. So yes, the angry wrench has like left us for now, but like they're also going like set up their like show in about like in about 30 minutes. So by about the time that this show is scheduled to end, again scheduled to end as well. So
Yeah.
okay, so yeah, self-care. That's a good like a topic to bring up. What do you do to this self-care? Which is like, and then I did post this to like Facebook, and there's like something that like my older sibling also brought up. There's like self-care as in relaxing and unwinding, and then there's also the things you need to do that you should do to actually take care of yourself as well too. So it's like you can answer that self-care in either way or both ways and stuff like that. So what do you do to like do self-care?
Oh, I just like a fag.
And I know that you mean a cigarette as well too.
Uh-huh.
So yeah.
Yes, I don't indulge in a bit of homophobic hate crime, no.
Oh, Jesus.
Can you even really call yourself British then?
Clearly, no.
Ely?
I recently caved and got a TV, a smart TV, and there's a lot of free junk TV channels.
Yeah.
And sometimes to stop, when you have a thought that keeps repeating in your head, it's so nice to put something inane on in the background, and then it's just like you can't sort of all the chatter in your head kind of quiets down.
Oh yeah, it's so I don't blame anyone that rewatches like the same show for like the 20th time or so.
It's like it feels like the same kind of TV that was on late at night, sort of Forensic Files and Top Gear and stuff. And I quite enjoy it, but I don't know how long it will last. Maybe I will get really tired of it.
Yeah.
But it's like I didn't realize there was so much free junk on a smart TV today.
No, yeah, we here in the U.S. we have Tubi, which is like I can understand the model. It's like, oh, it's free. There's no subscription whatsoever, but like their ads. It's like, okay, that's a trade-off I can like go with, and it's probably like old classic shows, classic like movies that like have cheap licenses, which is why it's on Tubi. So it's just like, yeah. But I bet I think there's even like a kind of like a Tubi for like anime as well too. So it's just like, hey, I don't mind watching like City Hunter or other classic shows as well too, to just like catch up on that sort of thing too. And yeah, it's just like Lucia, you have talked about like Magical Girls. I'm sure that's just like a comfort food sort of like entertainment for you too as well too. So like Isaiah and like Joe, what do you do for like
I'm going to go through the basic plot synopsis of the games I felt the need to replay. Mafia 3, where you play a African American man who uses CIA tactics to take down a racist mob. Watch Dogs 2, where a racially diverse and interesting, essentially anarchist collective takes down a tech billionaire.
Yep.
And one of the anarchists is autistic.
Yes.
Yeah. And it's actually not a bad portrayal, which is really good to see.
Especially when you consider it came from Ubisoft.
Yeah.
And Wolfenstein: The New Order, which I
shooting Nazis.
Don't actually think I need to explain that one.
Yes, it is political to shoot Nazis. And again,
see, which one was the Far Cry game where the enemies were just a Republican family?
Far Cry 5.
5.
Yes, the religious cult in the middle of the mountains or somewhere like in Montana, as it is.
Yeah.
Amazingly frustrating that in Far Cry 6 or Far Cry New Dawn, I think it is.
Yeah.
It just like, oh yeah, turns out the bad guy in the last game was just right. It's like, oh no.
Yeah, that I a friend like played that and like when some of the people were like in the chat, some of my friends were mentioning about the politics of that game when my friend was like streaming with someone who's another friend of theirs that has a no politics rule. So that was kind of interesting.
Get like, your politics out of my games. What are you talking about?
Oh no.
Yes, but it's like, no, Far Cry 5, the politics are right in there, and like as there's someone who's complaining about the politics in like that game, it was a liberal game, so kind of like liberals were writing it of like, yeah, this like far right people are less bad, but there's also the extreme far left that are also equally bad. It's like, oh god, there's horseshoe theory in that game, isn't there, as well too?
Yeah.
A little bit.
Yeah. It's gotta love the horseshoe.
Killing all the Jews is the same as feeding poor people.
Mythro, can I ask you a question?
Yeah, sure.
If you had the money, would you have ever flown on the Concorde?
Autism moment.
I mean,
I've been watching a lot of documentaries about it lately, so I was just asking.
would I have flown on Concorde? I mean, it was really, I once visited a air museum, which was down south in the UK, obviously, and they had the prototype there, and the bloody thing was so narrow that I mean, even by the standards of an aircraft, it was incredibly claustrophobic.
And
I'm not sure I would have done,
the parts of flying that I didn't like, the times I've done it, is takeoffs and landings. When you're just cruising in the air for that amount of time, it's not bad. It's fine. And the idea of paying more, being in a less comfortable plane to just do the part of flying that doesn't suck for less time.
Yeah.
I don't get the appeal.
Yeah, but you're moving faster than any human being ever did, so it's cool.
Well, so you weren't, were you? Because you were literally about what was its top speed? About 700 miles an hour. So it was only just above the sound barrier.
1,200 miles an hour, I believe.
Oh, right, okay. So nearly twice, but I mean, that wasn't as fast as some of the fighter jets
there was
going,
there was at least temporary or not like prototype plans for essentially doing a aircraft that was going to be essentially, it took you into low orbit for a little while because of the speeds you can achieve there. And they're like, turns out like when they're doing the studies, like, turns out most commercial flyers don't want to experience 4Gs. It's like,
who knew?
Fair.
I would have done it just to brag and say just to be the.
Oh, sorry, Groundhog, I didn't know.
To go supersonic, so I would have been in the record books just for that.
Yeah, well, no, that's fine. I mean, I've only ever flown once, and I didn't mind the taking off and the landing. It was a bit. It was while I was still young enough to enjoy roller coasters, so it wasn't too bad. But
I don't like roller coasters, so that gives you an idea.
The ordinary flying part was fascinating.
It's like a train ride with a different view.
Because we had pretty good weather. I was flying down to Greece. We went past. We flew across the Yugoslavian mountains. It was absolutely stunningly beautiful, great.
And until recently, it had enough regulations that it was relatively safe. I don't think that's going to continue to be a thing because the things that the government should do are the things that we've decided we shouldn't do anymore.
So are the Balkans about to go off again? I don't know.
Okay. Bit difficult to say. They're always I think they're always virtually on the edge, and it would only take a sparrow farting in the wrong place to trigger them. But it's the Balkans. I think it must be the terrain or something. It just makes them not inclined to being bad-tempered.
No. Isaiah, I don't think you answered the question. What do you do for self-care?
I sometimes watch the X-Files, Star Trek: the Next Generation, Deep.
That's good comfort food. Yeah.
Listen to music, sing.
Yes.
Stuff like
I
that.
like watching walking videos. People walking to interesting places.
Oh my god, that is the most English thing ever. Watching other people walk.
3/4 of them. Oh no, that's American, surely.
That's people watching.
What is this walking of which
No.
you talk in
Americans
America,
watch
isn't
people
it?
drive.
Ah, right, yeah.
Oh, the left
In a
turn
circle.
for like yes,
Yeah.
in a circle
Yeah.
for like 800
Oh
rounds.
God, I watched something the other day that described the Indy 500 as the greatest motor race in the world, and I'm just sat there going, it really isn't. It really isn't.
It's like Formula One or something like that, right?
Huh? Well, no, the Indy 500 is an oval circuit job.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
it's
no.
just literally turning left all the time.
I agree. Yeah. But what do you
Yes,
think would be?
it's-
What do you
Oh,
think?
the Le Mans 24-hour motor race.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Or one of the great rallies, the Monte Carlo rally, perhaps, or something like that, which absolutely astonishing driving abilities.
Yeah, because like Groundhog, I think you and like Lin Wu would has also talked about that too. And you like, I think that you both would like balk at that like description of like Indy 500 really greatest like a race of all time. No. It's just
Nope.
like, yeah.
If anything, it's a
Struggling
showcase
so hard
of two
not to make a
things.
white supremacist joke right now.
It's a showcase of two things:
Mhm.
the ability to successfully draft,
Yes.
like drift
Mhm.
through things,
Yeah.
and the performance of the mechanic crew.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like those
Mhm.
races, stock car races particularly, because the difference in one car to another is
Mhm.
so fractional because
Mhm.
everyone stays competitive,
Mhm.
is all down to like almost completely down to pit stops and
Mhm.
how good people are at passing each other.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
The other one I love is the Isle of Man TT, which is motorbike racing. But
Yeah.
Never got into motorbike racing at all, but-
honestly, mate, it's road racing, so it's racing on
Oh,
public
interesting.
roads.
Oh.
No, terrifying.
Yeah.
One of the greatest bike riders of all time was a chap called Joey Dunlop, and apparently that he said to somebody, when I'm going round a certain corner, I always aim for the green plant at the side of the road. And somebody pointed out to him that the green plant at the side of a road was actually a bit of moss on a boulder.
Oh my.
Oh my god.
You're doing
Going
100
going so fast that you don't know that is
yeah.
terrifying.
There's grey bits and there's green bits, and you aim for the grey bits, is what he used to say.
Oh my goodness.
It's insane. Yes, Groundhog, people do die all the time, but and I've heard the argument about, oh, they've got families, all the rest of it. The families know the risks, I'm afraid, and they accept it. I've met one
Hey,
of the
let's make
guys
CEOs do the race.
Yeah. Oh, come on.
Goodness.
Some of them will try to prove how tough and manly they are as well,
Yes,
too.
except most of them weigh so much that you'd need a bike that's just.
Or they'll pay someone else to like do the exercise for them as well.
They'd reduce the top speed by about 80 miles an hour, most of them.
Have the presidential race be an actual race?
The
shotguns.
Oh, yes. Oh, that sounds good.
Yeah.
No.
I mean, honestly, it'll be like quite interesting to see who's like has a better reaction time, is like that. Who's like more confident than like racing this. Show them actually can do something as well too.
70-year-old white guys, then none of them can.
Fair.
Jimmy Carter.
And yes, Groundhog, I agree it shouldn't exist, but it does. So.
Yeah.
Also, a actual real good self-care thing I do is run D&D. Like that is like when I'm feeling bad, just like designing encounters, both social and combat, is so cathartic and like great escapism, where you're literally building another world where things make sense.
And there are rules to this world as well, too.
Yes.
I have a question.
Sure.
Is anyone going to watch the Super Bowl tonight?
No, I forgot that it was on.
I have a D&D game that I'm playing, so no.
I have no interest.
I'm gonna watch it kind of stoned because I can make fun of it better.
Yeah.
It's basically a celebration of capitalism. That's basically what it is.
Yeah.
Yep. I mean, people talk about the commercials as well too. I don't even know who's going to be the halftime entertainment as well too. What's the Super Owl?
Kendrick Lamar.
I don't know what a Super Owl is, or a Superb Owl.
Yeah. I'm.
It's Nazi Owl. It's not actually superb.
I'm actually kind of excited about the halftime show, and presuming that it's not, super panned by people who I respect, I might actually go back and watch a recording of it. Because
oh god, that would be brilliant, Goddess. That would be so funny.
Because Kendrick's good. Like,
oh yeah, Kendrick Lamar.
Like he puts on a good show.
Yeah. That I played some of his songs in Fortnite Festival. So go ahead.
To be honest, watching Super Bowl halftime shows reminds me of how black that I am not, because I'm not gonna get any of the references my people are gonna be singing about. So I'm just gonna be, I'm gonna just be like. I'm gonna be like Daria in like those like shots. There's like Daria, the show Daria, like Daria and her friends. And
I'm familiar with her work.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just gonna be like that. That's gonna be my mood. So
I love listening to people talk about like the tactics of American like hand-to-hand, but I hate actually watching it as well too. Yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
I hate watching it.
Daria has one of my favorite like kind of cutaway style jokes, although it doesn't actually cut away. It's just kind of a background element.
Yep.
They would every once in a while like show like in the background people watching the TV show Six Sad World. And one of the Six Sad Worlds was we talked to this man who's been suffering hiccups for 30 years, and they like cut away like, kill me. Kill me. It's like, man, that is such a dark joke. I love it.
Wait a minute, that was on The Simpsons.
Was that Simpsons? I could have swore that was Daria.
Yeah, no, I'm pretty sure.
I think.
I mean, both of them might have done it.
Yeah, but I remember that The Simpsons did a joke once where they made a Harry Potter parody, and then they were supposed to conjure up a Prince Charming, and Milhouse conjured up this frog creature that barfed all over the place.
Yes.
And it said, "Kill me."
Yeah, I don't want to live. They kill me. I think, it was The Simpsons. Simpsons did it. And I agree. Actually, Groundhog, I love baseball. I actually played it for like 2 years and stuff like that. I agree with you. It's like slow and boring as well, too, because there's like 10 seconds of excitement surrounded by like 5 minutes of like nothing.
It's the whitest sport ever. It's just people standing around.
Yes, exactly.
Speaking of,
actually, no, the second whitest sport. The whitest sport is golf.
Yes.
Oh god, yeah.
And I also also play golf.
No, the whitest sport is curling.
That's the most Canadian sport as well too.
Actually, no, curling is the littlest kid
Scottish.
sport.
It's a Scottish sport. Is curling originally?
So it's the Scots who did it. That's why it's so white too, as well.
Yeah, it's a little kid sport. I gotta push the thing.
It's great. It's so weird. Normally, I don't give a damn, but whenever the Winter Olympics are on, I get bizarrely fascinated by the curling, and I can't tell you why. I just find all of a sudden for that 2 weeks,
it is.
It's like, God, I really want to know.
It is.
Oh my
it's
God.
like captivating.
Oh
it's
God.
weird.
Trump is going to be at the Super Bowl tonight. He's going to be at the game.
Oh,
Let's
yeah.
all boo him.
Have you heard this story? They actually, because he was in the game, they repainted the end zones, taking out the end racism on there.
Oh, you're
That's
kidding
surprising.
me.
Like that's a thing they did because
And also,
he was going to be
NASA
there.
could have televised it to the space station too.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah. How gross is that?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
They were
NASA-
afraid
There are
that
things
they would
there are things I want to say.
insult him by, you know, I mean that he'd be worried that they were going to end him. It's a threat.
He should be worried.
I mean, they could have saved themselves money and just got rid of the end part for it. Kept the racism.
The NFL is now pro racism.
Now the skeleton, which are Olympics, that luge is so there's the luge and then the skeleton. It's where it's like, so the skeleton. What if we did a luge, but the opposite way, where you're burying down that thing? You're not going to just hang all back, just like, don't worry, I'm protected by this like the boggin on the episode too. No, the skeleton's just like, no, you're really going to go into this. It's like, be brave, to show how tough you are. I'm doing a skeleton.
Head first and on a tea tray. Yes. It's absolutely terrifying. It's amazing.
My understanding, I was actually looking at a thing on that. My understanding is, for some reason, that's like a better, like an easier way to steer. So, or maybe there's just more luge. Like skeleton is like has less fatal injuries than traditional luge, even though it looks like it would be way more dangerous.
True, I believe that.
You can see. Yeah. You can see it.
Oh God, this is gonna hurt.
These people are insane. They are certifiable, you know? It's brilliant. It's absolutely brilliant.
Unsafe sport.
Insanity.
Some of these like winter sports are not winter sports. They're on the Olympics. They're just dares. They're just dares. Like people do.
I bet you won't do that. Go on.
Also, thinking back, to what the whitest sport is, no one brought up dressage, and it's just dressage.
Mincing for horses is what I heard it called.
No, fencing.
Wait, is that like a gay thing?
Yeah, so it was homophobic, but it's still funny.
Fencing is the whitest sport. Fencing.
I don't know. Horse dancing does seem less.
Yeah,
like at least fencing is like fighting.
Horse. The thing about the equestrians is they are, both sexes compete equally as well. There isn't any differentiation between male and female riders.
Until the trans people take it over.
Yeah.
Well, theoretically, there shouldn't be a problem, should there? Because, you know...
If there isn't different leagues.
But I'm sure there will be. I'm sure that there bloody would be, yeah.
I mean, if the golf league... the chess league decided to ban trans women because of, like, a competitive advantage in, like, chess, that's what it's then, like, there's no bottom to, like, homophobia, the transphobia and homophobia.
There's, it's... when the last Olympics had the boxing thing, even though, you know, cis woman.
Oh. Yeah, exactly.
The funny thing is, the reason why that was initially split was when women of that weight class started to box and win, the men demanded to be separated because they didn't want to be beaten by a woman.
Yep. It just talks to masculinity all the way down.
Because as it turns out, when you divide by weight class, the advantages that a guy potentially has over a woman are negated because a lot of the advantages are just men tend to be bigger.
You know what, John Broadwin, you never answered the question of like, what do you do for self-care? Whether
I sleep.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. Both to relax and unwind, and also take care of yourself as well too. Yeah.
You don't want to go out there and make money, John, and hustle and bust.
He can't do that while he's sleeping.
Now you're muted.
Sure, I make the joke. Oh, you're the white person meeting the one black person in the call. Sounds about white. And Isaiah, you can unmute yourself at any time as well too. Sleep working. I don't know what it is. And the Angry Wrench has just posted her like YouTube link, so I'm gonna head over there. Love you all. Later, peeps. Hydrate and medicate. Yeah, that's an important.
Take care, Joey. Be safe, mate.
Bye,
I try to
Joey.
always easy. Hey Joey. I try to always be somewhat productive doing something.
Yeah.
That's such an American way to look at things.
You can be surprisingly productive doing nothing, though. To be quite honest,
that's a very poo way of looking at it. As in Winnie the Pooh.
Well, hey, listen.
What?
But you
mean Chairman Xi?
But you guys know I'm disabled, so you know us autistics need something to do to keep us productive.
Yes. Yes. After all, it may look like I'm doing nothing, but at a cellular level, I'm actually quite productive.
Nice.
I'm simply productive.
It is 3:30, and I have to get ready to go to work because it's Super Bowl day. So.
God, yeah, you're going to have fun, aren't you?
Even when I'm not working, I'm doing exactly as much work as a landlord.
Oh, brilliant.
All right, so I'm gonna quickly go through just like just a few of the plugs, because like Elite, you of course have like your Cat Blue Sky, so like. Yeah. There you go. You can follow like Elite Sky, Cat Blue Sky there as well too. I'm not gonna like bring it to like Mithra or to Joe to like promote something, because you generally don't have anything promote of your own as well too. No. So the Isaiah, you have like your Instagram. I should like get the link to that as well too. Galactic Cosplay Crafts. If there's anything else that you are working on as well too that like you want to promote
at the moment.
Okay, so check out Galactic Cosplay Crafts. I am Summary Geek. Summary Geek on like most of the social medias on like YouTube, Twitch, Blue Sky, Threads, Tumblr, and yes, I'm on Twitter. Johnson's Gone on Facebook if you want to follow me there. If you haven't already followed me, and I will be like streaming once I get off this call. I need something on Twitch and YouTube. Don't know what I'm gonna be doing. Probably more like a Fortnite and but if not Fortnite, then Dead Cells as well too. And John Brockman, you're part of another podcast, aren't you?
Yes, Dungeons and Debacles. A lot of fun. It's a lot like this. Chaos energy.
All right. Don't forget charitylinks.page, and like I will like connect with the Angry Wrench for like those like links that like she was talking about as well too. I'll put those in charity links as well if they're like links to public links to like help trans people like relocating if they need to, if they feel like they need to, and well so like that. And just practice your own self-care, and like don't forget to hydrate and medicate, and take care of all.
Bye bye everybody.
Take care everybody.